Round 16 is on the horizon as Formula One heads to the land of the rising sun. Lando Norris speaks out for the first time about possibly teaming up with Max Verstappen in the future. And Red Bull team overseer, what would you call him? I don't even know what his title is.
Senior advisor or something?
Red Bull senior advisor Helmut Marko in hot water over some pretty cool comments that he made this week. We are your hosts. I'm Channing Apodaca. That's Brendan Wood. This is Into the Chicane, a Formula One podcast. Please remember to follow the YouTube. What is it? Subscribe to the YouTube?
Yeah.
Subscribe to the YouTube. Like this video. Follow us on Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Is that all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. I forget.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll perfect that intro. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got an intermediate podcast coming. Intermediary.
Yeah.
An intermediary on the horizon of the Singapore Grand Prix. Not a whole lot of news this week.
Not a lot, but what news there was pretty nasty and vitriolic.
Yeah. You walked in here and you're like, well, you had made a joke. We were texting about it. And I was like, we were talking about doing the pod today, and I was like, what are we even going to cover? Nothing's really happened. And you're like, we can talk about Helmut Marko's racist comments. And I took that as kind of just like, ha 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 ha,
yeah,
as a joke, because he's done this shit before.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
Kind of like everybody in the Red Bull zeitgeist has had something racist to say, like whether it be Nelson Piquet, Helmut Marko, Jos Verstappen, they've all had, and it's always
Yuri Vips.
Oh God, is he still around?
He might get an IndyCar drive next year.
I forgot about Yuri Vips. Sometimes I get him confused with Liam Lawson because they're both like...
They were on that same plane.
Yeah, same. They're about like the same class of Red Bull Academy driver.
Yuri's a little older, but yeah.
But both like blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white.
Yeah.
Yuri Vips was what? Danish or something?
Something like that.
Some kind of Scandinavian. And Liam is he's a Kiwi. But I always mix them up. I'm like, dude, sometimes I'll think about Liam Lawson, and I'm like, I can't believe they let him keep driving. Because he dropped a bomb on a live stream or something.
That was Yuri did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's not put that on Liam. Liam Lawson did nothing. Liam Lawson is like the new golden child at Red Bull. We were just talking a second ago. I had seen something that potentially he might be getting a 1-year contract, a permanent drive in F1 coming up.
I think they should have put him in instead of Daniel, but...
Yeah. I still maintain that as shitty as what happened to Daniel is for him, it's for the best. It's for the best for Checo. It's for the best for the Red Bull team. It's for the best for the progress of F1 as a whole. I'm all for putting younger drivers in, and I've said it 1,000 times. I don't think Daniel Ricciardo's doing any real damage in that car.
No, but he's a figure who has a lot of media pull and people like him. So.
That's all it is. People are unwilling to let go of what they know and love. It's like that old Against Me song. This isn't just the remorse of a loss of a feeling.
Yeah. One thing that Helmut Marko can't seem to let go is his racism, because again,
hold on, before this is going to be like the main thing that we talk about. Before we get to that, Lando Norris spoke out for the first time. That sounds bad. Like the first comments I've ever heard of him saying that he would be open to driving for Red Bull with Max Verstappen. He said they're talking about like just his history with Max, and he said he'd never driven against him until Formula One because Max was always a year or so above him. Mm-hmm. Kind of complimenting Max and what he's been able to do. And Lando said, I think no matter what car he's in, he'll be able to perform at a similar level. Maybe with different results, but at a similar level. And I think at that point, it'd be great to work alongside someone like that. At the same time, to see where I can really stand against him, I'd be open to it. So the cogs are in motion. Once in F1, rumors are prophecies, just like Harry Potter. Once it's said, such it shall be. It becomes a prophecy, and you can just about see it as truth. I think Lando Norris to Red Bull in the future is a done deal.
How do you think that's going to go if Lando goes there and ends up doing well and threatening Max's position there? How do you think that that's going to go down?
It needs to happen. Because the whole point of it is that Max doesn't want to stay in F1 forever. He's said that.
Mm-hmm.
His longevity in the sport is a big, giant question mark, and Red Bull needs to protect themselves and have a number one driver there ready to go. So if that means Lando going right up against Max's bumper race after race, that's what has to happen. I think they need to let go of the Max has oversaying power at this team and just do like a traditional 1A, 1B, 1-2 and let them race.
Mm-hmm.
Max has been able to outdrive every single teammate he's had for the last 5 years. That's no news.
According to Lewis, it's because he's been given teammates that aren't as much of a challenge to him as, say, like what Lewis has faced.
And who? Bottas? Nico?
Rosberg, yeah.
Rosberg was his only real challenge. Valtteri Bottas was Lewis's wingman. That's what Checo's been. That's why Checo always gets the comparative. It's not like Checo's a bad driver. Max has had Daniel, 8-time winner. I mean, that's about the same as Val, right? Val's what, a 9-time winner?
I'm not sure.
Close. Checo's at like 4 or something. I don't think... They're different categories. There are only so many Lewises and so many Maxes to sit there and compare. It's not often that you get a Hamilton-Rosberg situation. So for him to say that is just like, yeah, all right. It just sounds like a side comment that was maybe blown out of proportion.
Which is basically what it was.
Yeah. I don't think Lewis was like taking a shot.
No, that's what a lot of people like to make it out to be, but not really.
I'd like to see Lewis take more shots.
But yeah, it would be interesting to see Max have to perform next to a driver that's a little more on par with him.
Yeah, that has like a world championship potential pedigree in him. Because like George Russell has been said to be like, oh, George is going to be a future world champion. Everybody knew that him coming up the ranks is like George has the potential to be an F1 champ. Said the same thing about Lando. Said the same thing about Chuck. Sort of put one of them in a car behind one of these other top guys, these historic type drivers, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be fun. It's got to happen.
Yeah. You know, I mean, considering Lando's white and all, he should fit in pretty well over at Red Bull, it seems. So.
Yeah, he fits their bill. He's got blue eyes. He's a little tan. He's got
He's got curly hair, you know.
He does have curly hair. But he's British. Caucasian. So he's exactly what they're looking for.
So Marko should approve of him pretty well. So
that's why. You saw the video of Helmut Marko pushing his way to the front of the podium?
Yeah, to come get a little peek at Lando.
Yeah, he was going. Let me see that.
He's trying to snag a hair.
Yeah, he wants to get a little bit of his DNA so he can run it through the fucking gulag.
Yeah, they got a 23andMe sponsorship.
Could you imagine 23andMe on the side of the Red Bull car?
Jesus Christ. I mean,
wants to get a look at Lando's lineage up close. Right. So what
here's the thing. I don't even want to like repeat what he said or have to go through the whole list of all the terrible things that he said.
Would you be able to
I mean, I can do it real quick.
Can you summarize it? I mean, well, here's the thing. We're just reading an article. This is not us agreeing with anything that Helmut Marko said, obviously. And this comes from The Race. This is one of the biggest...
So what I'm going to read here is from Scott Mitchell-Malm. Did a really great article.
One of the biggest F1 journalists there is.
So a non-exhaustive list includes suggesting Perez need not be scared about a nearby missile strike in Saudi Arabia last year because Mexico City, the city Perez isn't even from, is also very dangerous. Joking that Perez may have been drinking tequila the night before the French Grand Prix because he was, quote, asleep at a safety car restart, indicating that Perez has ups and downs because he is, quote, South American, and making that same point in a geographical error, again with comments this week to apparently explain why Perez's head is not as focused as that of Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel. And then he tried to clarify that this is not exactly what he meant.
So this is what he's saying, to paraphrase. He's using the lazy Mexican narrative.
Yeah, and then to double down, he said it's just that he meant a Mexican has a different mentality to a Dutch or a German person.
Ay, ay, ay.
So it's just like, I don't know. How much longer are they going to let him just run his mouth like this and make the whole organization look bad? Like at a time where people are already mad at them about 2021, mad about the cost cap. They're mad about the past 2 seasons. They already think the FIA is like in their pocket. And you got this dude who's the most evil looking person in the paddock, who reigns terror over that entire team and organization, has for years, you know.
Are you saying that he is a dictator over this organization a little bit?
Yeah.
And he is of Austrian descent, right?
Yeah.
And historically, we know how Austrian dictators can be. We know how those people are. So this is kind of just like, this is all on par. This is a Hollywood script.
For what? I mean,
no, I'm just saying, like, I mean, you know, history repeats itself. We've seen that play out time and time again. Well, we saw it play out one time, pretty big one.
It's just like, is this thing just going to get swept under the rug again, or does a change actually happen from this?
I'd be willing to bet it gets swept under the rug, but the fact that Scott Mitchell-Malm of The Race, The Athletic, like that's the biggest sports news junket in the world.
One of them, yeah.
Or not, maybe Sports Illustrated might be the biggest, but that might be an American bias.
But globally,
yeah, The Athletic is huge. The fact that they're writing an article
so scathing
about the senior advisor of this team being racist, that's a big fucking article. If this thing really catches fire, something might happen to Helmut Marko. But he does have a lot of pull at that team.
So
he's literally the last say.
Yeah. Does Helmut show up to the Mexican GP?
Ooh. Yeah, I would say he probably does. My big question is, are the Mexican fans going to be in tune enough with the F1 geosphere to even know what happened?
I mean,
4 months out from that race, are they so, you know, up to date on the news?
It's not that far. It's in October, right?
Yeah, we're
a month and a half from now.
No, it's 2 months.
2 months, so.
It's on October 30th or the 31st, and so we're about a month and 3/4 away from that.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. To me, it's just really disappointing. You know, not surprising. I hate having to keep hearing new things like this. And it's just, I already like have such a disdain for him and just like his personality.
We could probably chalk it up to him being like, oh, it's an old fucking white dude, an old curmudgeon white dude trying to be funny. And that's the way he jokes around, making, oh, maybe Checo had a little bit too much tequila the night before. Because, dude, even Checo will make jokes like that, you know?
But I don't know.
Is it his place? I'm not trying to right the wrongs or anything.
Yeah.
But we can potentially chalk it up to him trying to just be funny and just completely missing the mark. And especially just being so unaware of how it looks for him from the outside, how people actually view him.
And that's the thing is, like, this is not the first time. Like, we've been through this before. He should know that he can't talk like that, or like there needs to be repercussions for him just being blatantly racist and disrespectful like that. So, I don't know. It's just,
they're not even like, and fucking hate me for saying this, but they're not like straight up racist comments. They're stereotyping comments, and they're borderline hack, but it's more just like these attempts at generalizing some shit. But what it really is disrespectful to Checo, to be calling him out for no reason, then to be sitting there saying that, no, you know what, actually it is, the more I think about it, it's pretty fucking racist. When I was thinking about the comparative to Max.
Yeah, because
that's where it gets really bad, is when he goes, yeah, he's just not, because he's South American, he's not the same.
He's not even South American.
Yeah,
Mexico
he's
is
North America. He's from Mexico. He goes, because he's South American, he isn't on the same wavelength or whatever as Sebastian and Max, who are just pure white bloodlines.
I mean, yeah, there's no denying that he's just a racist old curmudgeon, and
yeah,
I think he's bad for the team, and he's bad for the sport, and I think
he's 100% bad for the sport. He might be great for the team because he's cutthroat.
there's plenty of other people that are cutthroat.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Like, you can find somebody to replace him.
Yeah.
So that's how I think.
I don't even fully understand the reason that he's there.
Exactly.
When you think about it.
He's there to be that authoritarian figure and to be scary, and like whatever he's advising on, it's probably, not that as much of a critical point as, say, like, I don't know, any potential new driver that they would want to sign that maybe doesn't want to sign with them because of these kinds of things, right? Do they want to be associated with a racist organization, or just this guy, like.
He had some shit to say about Yuki this week too, right?
Well, I don't know if it was this week, but it was in the past. He said something about he's not like most Japanese people. It was more about like being racist toward or being like derogatory against Japanese people in general. But
and what does he mean? Like, what are most Japanese people like?
Exactly. Like that's the whole. It's awful. It's just so awful. And then not only to mention, like, it just makes the team and the sport look bad. Just you have to see the backlash from it online and the people trying to defend him and saying how what he's doing is not racist. And it's just like,
yeah, don't lump me in with those people from my comments from 5 minutes ago.
It's just the same garbage. That, I don't know. It's also inherent to like Twitter and all that kind of stuff, which we can get into.
I mean, that shit's a whole fucking cesspool. You have 1,000 different people on Twitter, F1 Twitter, with like a memed out, their whole profile is like a memed out picture of Max Verstappen or, insert any driver on like the Rambo body, just shit posting. The whole, like, on both sides too, like the whole Team LH, the shit, they have a bunch of fake bot accounts. Every single side of that whole zeitgeist has.
And then, it's, and then on the other side, people getting mad at Lewis saying, why isn't Lewis speaking out about Marko's comments?
Well, it has nothing to do with him.
Well, because he himself has experienced racism, so he has to make a comment about it.
I get people wanting to, because Lewis has taken this giant stance, and he did like the end racism shit, that he did the Black Lives Matter things, so they're gonna call Lewis out and be like, well, why aren't you saying anything now?
Exactly, and it's just all of it just fucking sucks. It's all sucks so bad.
It's everybody just fucking pointing fingers. The way that we can find politics in something as simple as a racing series is unreal. Well, politics, and then the fact that we're talking about racism here.
Yeah. Well, it's because you
ridiculous.
Get these. Yeah. Well, you get these organizations that are really rely on these individuals that have been there for a long time, and just so happens that these old guys just end up having terrible views.
Let me say something too. So he had mentioned that Checo should have, because what did Checo say that he was a little apprehensive after the explosions in Saudi Arabia last year?
No.
Did he make then why did Helmut Marko say that, what he said about Mexico City?
See, I don't even know.
So he just said, oh well, so there were bombs in Saudi Arabia, but
Checo should be fine because
Mexico City is also dangerous. Let me say this. Mexico City is one of the greatest fucking places I've ever been to. That is one of the coolest, most cultured, safe. It has bad areas, but I'm in Los Angeles right now. We got bad areas here. There are bad areas in Chicago. There are bad areas in Texas. There are scary spots all over the world. It's called the slums. Okay? Everywhere's got a neighborhood that's a little iffy. Mexico City's no different. The city itself is beautiful. It's multicultural. Some of the best food I've ever had. I would fucking live there, okay? Can't say the same about somewhere where bombs are going off. Not to say anything bad about Saudi Arabia, but it's a comment that just was pointless. Don't talk shit about CDMX.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Over what? The bullshit?
Just all the bullshit.
Do you think, what if Helmut Marko gets the kibosh? What happens? Does anything change?
Probably not. The team would still roll on and probably have the same success without him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, did you, there's a new biography that came out about Max.
No.
Apparently in it, there is a story from earlier on in his career where he had been struggling a little bit. Max has his issues with his dad and all that stuff, and getting left at a gas station when he was really young, and earlier on in his F1 career, he had a little streak where he was struggling. And Horner basically said, try not inviting your dad for the next race and see how that goes. And he actually did a lot better when he didn't have like his dad and a bunch of other people.
What race was this?
I don't know exactly, but it was earlier on in his career. And so I thought, oh, maybe that might be a good method. They could take the
stressors off.
Take the stressors off of Sergio and the rest of the team by having Helmut just sit out for the rest of the season.
Do you think that if Helmut Marko had been fired or just taken the year off, that Nick DeVries would still be here?
It's possible. He might. That's the thing is, Christian and the rest of the organization still might be as harsh and critical.
But Christian doesn't have anything to say about AlphaTauri. Christian only runs Red Bull.
That is true. You're making a good point. So yeah, I mean, Helmut. If Helmut was,
he might reference Christian, like, hey, what do you think about making this? And Christian be like, that's probably the right thing to do. Yeah. But Christian only runs Red Bull racing.
True, yeah. But they did talk about, there was like, they were in talks when Helmut was looking to sign him originally. So like
looking to sign Nick
Christian, they had talked to Christian about it, which is why I was thinking that. But
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He probably references things to him because eventually the point of having an AlphaTauri driver is to get them to Red Bull. Mm-hmm. So he's probably got to have a little bit of say, but overall, it should be 0 on paper, but we know it's not, I guess is what I'm kind of getting at. But, I mean, there's a world where Helmut Marko sits out this season or is relieved of his duties, and Nick DeVries has a much better season, despite the fact that we know that car sucks.
Yeah, can you imagine if...
But look at it, just his performance, his attitude, everything from the season before when he was getting reserve drives completely shifted once he joined that team.
Yeah, and I think he struggled with the car a little bit, as did Yuki. And I think that just those struggles, he was never really able to get over that hurdle and having to be constantly criticized in the public by Marko, I think didn't help at all.
Yeah.
It's like that meme, the shit doesn't taste as good when you got a bitch in your ear telling you it's nasty.
What the fuck?
You know what I'm saying? You never seen that before?
No.
All right, I'll send it to you.
Shit doesn't taste as good when you got a bitch in your ear telling you it's nasty?
Yeah, it's like a guy eating like a Domino's hot and ready.
Oh, I thought you meant like a piece of shit.
No, it's like the picture is like him eating a Domino's hot and ready, and it's like, and the caption is "shit don't taste as good," or "shit tastes better when you don't got a bitch in your ear telling you it's nasty."
So what? Like it? Wow, are we really about to break this down? The metaphor is that somebody's influence on you can be negative.
It can change the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's a deep ass meme, bruh. That's dank. That's a dank meme, player.
Yeah. So Singapore.
That's the news of the week, folks. Yeah, let's get to so Singapore's coming up. We head to the lovely continent of Asia. Nothing bad to say about those people. A lovely people, respectful, beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I was wondering why I got caught up in the time zones the other day. I was like, oh, dude, fucking Singapore's a night race. I'm excited. Wait, why the hell is it at 5 a.m.?
Oh, yeah.
Because normally when we have a night race here, a la the Japanese Grand Prix, which takes place 10 p.m. on our Saturday, it's daytime there. So them racing nighttime there is daytime for us. It's the first night race we've had since what?
Singapore's night race?
Yeah.
I thought it was 5 a.m.
It's 5 a.m. here, but it's a night race for them. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I got my
that makes sense. Yeah.
My timelines got crossed.
Yeah, I was Googling something when you said that the first time, so I apologize.
It's okay.
So Singapore, do you have any predictions?
I have one.
What's that?
I'm gonna say that Helmut Marko's not there.
Okay. I think he'll probably be there.
Okay.
Just out of spite, it may take a couple weeks for it to really boil over, but I think.
Well, it's in a week.
We'll see.
The fact that The Athletic and Scott Mitchell-Malm wrote an article about it, that's the most interesting part of that whole thing to me.
I mean, it's a big deal. People really, people have had enough.
Yeah.
I thought this weekend would be a perfect weekend for Checo to break the win streak.
Ooh. Ooh,
How amazing would that be?
that would be nice.
It's a good circuit for him. He won here last year.
He's the king of the streets.
He's had a real rough run of races. Started trending back up. I think if he gets off to a good start, no real hiccups in practice and qualifying, I think he has a good shot.
That would be the actual Hollywood storyline that we need.
That's
Not the Schindler's List one that we were talking about earlier, but this one. That would be. But can the stars align to make something that poetic happen? I hope for it. I like Max's streak at 10. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with him continuing to win. I'm cool with anybody else winning this week. I'm glad that Max got the record. Checo getting this win, though, would be fucking beautiful. This is a good... I can already see what your second prediction is, and I can't take it. If you're going to go Checo wins the race, I'll go Lando wins the race.
Okay.
I can see what your next prediction is, so your next prediction will help my second prediction.
Yeah, Lando podium. So I think he's due for...
I read that wrong. I thought I read that as Lando pole.
No, Lando podium.
I'm going to go Lando pole then for 3. Fuck it. I got a Lando heavy weekend, dog. No, leave Lando wins.
Okay, I got it.
Because I got nothing else.
I don't know. I was going to try to wing it for my third one. I feel like...
I went Williams heavy last week, and it bit me in the ass, and you've jumped me by like 5 points in the predictions.
I know, but their beginning of this wasn't really... let's see. My third one...
But you doubled up in points last week, didn't you?
I just got 2.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 is good.
Yeah.
You know how many zeros are on the board there?
Yeah.
I didn't get a point until round 10.
Barcelona, you got 2. I was going to say a red flag, but I feel like that's too easy.
There's definitely going to be a red flag. It's a street race.
Street race.
But a red flag?
Could be rain. Weather's always an issue.
Yeah, didn't it get rained out? Not rained out, but it poured.
Yeah.
There was a red flag at some point.
Yeah, it could be very Zandvoort-like, where it's momentary, but really heavy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's bold enough, guy.
Okay. Let me see. Who else? Let me look.
That's the thing is there's like not a whole lot going on. I would say a good one might be like Liam Lawson points. I could see that happening. If he just runs a safe race, some bullshit happens up front. Can I change one?
Sure.
Let me change from Lando win to Liam points, and then I'll take Lando pole, and then you can have Lando win. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
Fuck, man. I don't know. I think it should be a Mercedes thing, maybe, because I think that's I don't know. I don't know.
You think Lewis redeems himself from his Monza race and gets back on top of George? I didn't like George. I gave George a lot of credit as president and CEO of the George Russell Haters Fan Club, of which you are the co-chair. I gave him a lot of credit for running a good. He had a good quality ran a clean, boring race all by himself. I didn't like doing that, and I'd love to see Lewis top him again this week.
Sure, I'll say Lewis beats George.
Okay, not very bold, but okay.
I'll say throughout the weekend.
How about this? Why don't you say by how many positions? Or actually, throughout the weekend's not bad.
Yeah.
So he has to beat him in 3 practices. He has to out-qualify and then out-race him.
Sure.
Okay. Lewis sweep George.
Cool.
I dig that. Is that it?
I think that's good.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, this has been Into the Chicane, the where are we going? Pre-Singapore Grand Prix, round 16, I believe, correct?
Yep.
8 more to go. This is, we'll see you guys post-race. Peace.
Peace.